everyone. I'm Heidi, and I'm going to be the moderator for this panel. I will introduce a little bit of myself. I cook and occasionally sell food at the Arizona Bitcoin Network meetups, and I don't work at Zebedee, but I'm in Zebedee through marriage. I didn't know how to explain that, but
You're the ambassador.
yes, the ambassador. So I would like to start. I'm fairly new to Nostr, so I don't know, I think I just found out that it means notes and other stuff transmitted by relay. So I guess that makes sense now. So I would like to, by asking these ladies a couple of questions, I would like to know more about it. And we can start off by, I don't think he's gonna.
CB dog.
Yeah.
CB dog, that's all it is, yeah.
I would like to start off by the ladies introducing themselves and their involvement in Bitcoin and Nostr.
Oh boy. All right, hello everyone. I'm Brianna. I'm sure you've seen me around. It'd be weird if you didn't. I work at ZBD. I'm the VP of brand, so you're going to be seeing a lot of cool new brand stuff around, and if you like it, great. If you don't, it's not really my problem. Anyways, I also help run TabConf, obviously, with Tidwell, Brandon, and Brian, and I love Bitcoin, clearly. I've been on Nostr since like November of last year when nothing worked, and that was a terrible journey for all of us. I remember when photo uploads came in, and that truly changed my life. Also remember when Diamond started not crashing, which was great, because I could actually use it. I have also been involved in BitDevs in LA, and then I also write about Bitcoin, Nostr, and Lightning for Forbes. So if you have a cool article, if you ever want to showcase your projects or your company, I am trying to bring Bitcoin to the forefront of more mainstream media, but also just being able to speak truth about it, right? Instead of a random crypto journalist who talks about crypto and the wrong types of things, right? So I'm trying to introduce this stuff into a broader audience, basically. So again, hit me up if you want an article.
I'm Katie, aka Peachy. Feel free to call me either one. I am the social media manager at ZBD. I have the coolest job ever. Making magic happen and sharing with our community is so rewarding on a daily basis. So I feel very blessed to be in the space. I've been a Bitcoiner since around 2020, but by association, it was a little bit earlier than that. For my husband, so guys, it does sometimes take time. I'm a co-organizer of a weekly Bitcoin meetup in my area, Lexington Bitcoin meetup. So I stay busy with that and things with CBD, but I'm always about talking about Nostr, sharing with people who just kind of, their eyes glaze over when you mention and break down even notes and others, people's eyes glaze over. So I know me and Brianna and everyone here is just really excited to bring Nostr to people where they're at. They may not be very technical yet, but so we're going to make that, like other social media, feel very seamless and not overwhelming. So we're excited to talk about that today and get a little bit deeper into that aspect of Nostr.
Hey guys, my name is Claire Parkinson. I am a project manager at ZBD Operations. I've been at ZBD for 1 year. I am Claire VP on Nostr. Follow me. I'll zap you. Energy is low right now, but it's gonna come up. Just believe in me, okay?
I believe in you.
We're going to talk about Nostr. We're going to talk about why we think Nostr is the future of social media and how we can bring Nostr to the mainstream.
Well, that was my next question. Why do you believe that Nostr is the future of social media?
You're already on a roll, Claire.
Okay, we're back. For me personally, I've been on Nostr for 2 months. I only joined it through ZBD Social. That was my onboarding experience. And I was really hesitant to join at first. I didn't want to join like an early app. That wasn't my vibe. If it was glitchy, I didn't want to be on it. But she bullied me into joining Nostr, and ever since I've been hooked. I think it's so much fun. I love zapping people. It's just, it feels like the early internet to me. I don't know if you guys feel that vibe too. Like it feels like a new internet revolution, and everyone has been so kind and welcoming, which I wasn't sure. Honestly, I didn't know what to expect. But I felt very welcomed by the community, and I love giving back to people by zapping, especially like people with their first Nostr post. I love just like hyping them up and like welcoming them to the space with zaps, and I think it's really powerful. So I'm really excited to see like how it grows and how ZBD Social can bring Nostr to like millions of people.
I think value for value is such a powerful thing. You don't realize the value that you have sometimes on your Twitter post because you don't see anything. You don't get zaps on a Twitter post. You don't get zaps on an Instagram post. So community and ZBD, we were it was kind of spread out, but I've noticed at Nostr, bringing them together there, zapping them, being able to really bring your community into a niche space like that has grown our community a lot in just a short amount of time. So we're really excited at ZBD to see where Nostr and our ZBD Social will expand our community even more. So seeing our users really have value for value click on Nostr is really cool to see. And also seeing everyone kind of open up a little bit more. You said it's like a different side of the internet. Sometimes it's very negative, but on ZBD Social, everyone's super positive. The biggest feedback that I do get is that it's refreshing. So if you're trying to explain like why you should get on Nostr to a friend, to a family member, social media nowadays is super negative. So I would definitely lean into how positive it is, how opening the community is to new members and zapping, and making sure they don't feel like outliers. ZBD Social has definitely made our community feel like they are empowered to be together, share things, photos. It's not just about anything technical. They can share about their lives, and that's definitely how we're going to expand Nostr more and see that grow, is reaching out and showing them just how easy it can be. Just to share a photo, shower thoughts is what we say a lot too. But it's just a special part of the internet now. And it kind of reminds me of MySpace, if you guys remember that.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. Another thing that I want to talk about too is not necessarily just the ZBD app, right? A lot of, the question was, why is this the future of social media, right? And to me, what I see happening is you're giving people the freedom of choice, right? Which is not something that most people have. People are used to having very strict rules around who they can be online, what they can talk about, the types of content that they're putting out, and then most importantly, the value that they're getting from it, right? For the most part, especially for women, I think, right? There's, and for everyone, there's a huge amount of pressure on a lot of the different social media apps, right? To be perfect, to be able to travel to Indonesia randomly with your random Instagram boyfriend, whatever it is. And that's simply not something I'm interested in. And I think a lot of people are getting tired of it, right? Not just us here, who are all a bunch of weirdos, but everyone I speak to, people who are real estate agents, who work at grocery stores, who are heads of brand at various big companies. As soon as I talk about Nostr, first of all, I never use that word because it's terrifying to normal people. But I talk about this new internet experience online where you can be yourself, right? People say, what do I post about here? I say, absolutely anything you want. It's magical, right? And I think we've all experienced that in a much different way, in a different way, each of us individually. What's great, and what I really think is the future as well, is the fact there are so many different clients, right? And that list is growing. It's obviously really hard to maintain a client that is like fully open source. You're not really earning any money on actually building it. A lot of these are passion projects, and I respect that massively. But what I also think is interesting is I look at a client like Primal, or I look at a client like Damus, Amethyst. Within that list, right? Each has its own feature set that can appeal to a bunch of different audiences. ZBD is very different in that we're really not trying to target Bitcoiners or Nostr heads or any of that. I'm trying to get the random mobile gamers to come in and play some games, earn their sats. I think that's a big one, right? And we can create this ecosystem where they get introduced to Nostr, the wider space. Then they get curious about it. We lightly hand them the tools, right? We pass the baton, and we say, hey, you can now do this thing, but we're not gonna overwhelm you, like Katie was saying. We're gonna spoon feed it to you a little bit every day. You're gonna learn a little bit more every day, and you get to be a part of building this thing. It's the same with Primal, the same with Damus. Everyone was a part of building it together, and I think that's really beautiful too. But there's going to be a ton of different users all around the world that build different clients together. Their needs will be heard, and I think that's really positive, right? So there's a few different answers that I have to that question. Essentially, we're just introducing a completely new paradigm here, and it really feels like something a little different than what we have right now. So I'm optimistic. Obviously, with any new protocol, with any new technology, we have to have, product market fit in a bunch of different ways. We have to have validation that, what I see as validation is normies coming on, posting selfies, posting pictures of their dogs, their morning coffee, their acai bowls, whatever it is, and just saying, having a great day, I'll zap. It's super chill. So it feels really different. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think it's the future.
I love that. And as a new user, I have felt the warmth and welcoming in the community of being able to post my food and the recipes that I've tried and have failed, and the ones that are all right, these are not Instagram worthy, but I can post what my journey was like in my madness that's going on in my kitchen. And by seeing I got zapped, and I was it has a very good feeling of getting a sat for a failure that I made. Or I guess not failure, but it could be better. And so my next question is, I've seen Zap and Zapathon thing, and I would like to know a little bit more about that.
Totally.
We actually send push notifications from the ZBD app to all of our users to just say #Zapathon, right? No one knew what that was, but then all of a sudden, I remember Andre and I went into the app and we were like, oh, everyone's talking about a Zapathon, what's going on here? Did we just onboard a ton of Nostr people? And we discovered, we're sending push notifications, and people click on it and they go, all right, I'm in here, right? I get to just post random pictures constantly and get zapped for it. It's on Thursdays and Fridays, I believe, at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and anyone can join it. It's just like a hashtag. That's another thing I want to talk about is hashtags, but we can save that for later. Love your thoughts on Zapathons.
No, as the social media manager, it's been really cool how organically that just struck up one day, and we didn't organize it or anything. I think that's really unique about it too, is that the community kind of came together, decided that that was the time that they were going to do that, and it spread like wildfire. And
well, it was created by, I don't even know who started that, right?
someone, just a random community member, and it struck with everyone, and it was really cool to see. So every week, seeing our community and other people come together, zap each other, it's very random things. It's not, it's like she was saying, pictures of food, your dog, it's sharing about the games that they're playing. We all strive for connection with other humans, right? And I feel like even just the hashtag where they're coming together like that It's just really cool to see. And now they're looking forward to it every week. So yeah, join the Zapathon, guys. Hashtag Zapathon.
One day I will make it to the Zapathon. I've missed it every single week, but I will make it one day. So.
You know what it reminds me of? Is that Bumble speed dating feature. Not that I'm on Bumble, but you told me about it. The speed dating every Thursdays, right? It's weird, but it's like everyone gets on the app at the same time.
I think it's just cool just bringing everyone on there at the same time and everyone's zapping each other. It's just like, it's exciting for everyone. And one thing we were talking about earlier is about not having to feel like, feeling like you have to be perfect on social media. I feel like Instagram has really like driven that home for me, and Nostr feels like an escape from that. It feels like some place where I can be imperfect and still celebrated, so.
For sure. Now, my next question is, how do you see the onboarding of non-Bitcoiners on Nostr? And like, what are ideas or strategies that you can share with us?
Geez, there's so much, because my first point of contact with most people on Nostr is just an in-person conversation, right? Here's a few things I've discovered. Just if you're talking to your Gen Z kid or your nephew or niece or whatever, do not talk about as a decentralized protocol where everyone can use different clients and you can hop over and you can add relays and stuff, and that's great. Right, but we're talking about onboarding some normies over here, which is the most important thing, because you can create software, you can create protocols, but if no one freaking uses it, then what's the point, right? You can enjoy it yourself, but at the end of the day, we're trying to get Bitcoin to a lot of people because it's impacted our lives very positively, right, in so many different ways, and the only way to do that is to meet people where they're at, to explain things very clearly, and also understand, what does this person want? What is this person looking for, right? What does that person care about? Not everyone cares about the same things. So in a kind of psychographic way, understand the person you're talking to and say, hey, what are your problems with social media? Because most likely this thing could actually change your life in a lot of meaningful ways. Another thing is, I live in LA. There's a lot of content creators in their own ways. Content creator to me just means someone who creates content. Doesn't necessarily need to be an influencer. Content creators are musicians, they're artists, they're pet owners, they are chefs, right? All types of people. And most of these people don't ever see a cent for all of their hard work. So I usually lead with that, right? If I'm speaking to a musician, I say, hey, did you know that you can put your music on this pseudo Spotify thing, and then your fans can actually stream you money, and then you can post that thing on this new social media that has money in it, and guess what? Your music can make way more money than you've made, in a day than you've made on Spotify, and that's changing a lot of people's lives too. But I always try to talk about what is relevant to that person. Never do I ever bring up the protocol stuff, because no one cares. It's like trying to explain the internet to someone. No one cares, they're gonna use it though. So, think about that, I guess.
Basically, everyone knows social media at this point. Try not to make it scary. Take them under your wing and show them how easy it is. Also, I would just suggest walking them through making their first post, sharing it with your followers, and letting them see their first post that how game-changing it is. They're not going to want to make a tweet after that. Like if you hashtag welcome, yeah, the welcome party that comes through, it just makes a more unique experience. So when you grab them, make sure they feel that unique experience at first, seeing the value, seeing that they want to take their time instead of posting onto a different platform, that it's time to check out Nostr, check out how you can change from your normal, everyday sharing of things to actually providing value. It's powerful. So that's my biggest advice for the normies is sometimes at first you're going to have to kind of wrangle them along, but after you do that, they're going to want to make their next post, and to stay supporting them and giving them that support will continue them to keep posting. That's my advice. Covered it, says Claire.
Awesome, I love that again. Do we have any closing remarks on anything and all things Nostr?
Oh, damn.
All right, well, I have to say is this. If you're not on Nostr yet, that's okay. It's still really early. I imagine most people here are, though. If your kids aren't on Nostr yet, it's okay. It's still early. If you're, usually it's teenagers that get into this stuff. Try to get your teenagers onto it, I guess. Any teenagers you know. You can be, have your opinions on custodial lightning wallets, whatever, but at the end of the day, you're keeping $10 there for zaps. Most people on ZBD are actually earning all of their zaps through all of the ways we have to earn. And I would always tell, young kids, if you have 10 minutes a day to play a game, to do a survey, whatever it is, you can save a little bit of Bitcoin every day, and you never have to put your disposable income in it. That's really powerful. A lot of people get zapped. That's a great way to earn too. There's so many kids, so many young people that are out of their job, they can't get an entry-level position, and they're not making any money, right? So giving people the opportunity to learn about Bitcoin by earning it is really powerful too. So I would say, my biggest advice is tell these young kids, hey, you can just earn a little bit of Bitcoin, you can get on the social media that will get you more Bitcoin, and you can also be yourself. Something that I want to mention too is that Gen Z, I believe, is going to be the accelerator of Bitcoin and new technology. They are the people that they do not need explaining. They understand Bitcoin, they grew up with it. They go, okay, cryptocurrency, what's new, right? I know we hate that word, but that's how everyone sees it. So, yeah, get those teenagers on ZBD. Look, you can try to get them on Primal and Damus and everything, but people are just gonna drop off, I'm sorry. Unless you're you're pretty based, right? And most people are not. So think about those things, meet people where they're at. I think that's a common thing in this village. So those are my closing statements.
I guess my biggest closing statement is I'd love to have a conversation with you guys if you're interested to hear just how our whole experience with ZB Social has been, how we are targeting normies, and how we're asking what their interests are and catering around those questions. So I encourage you guys to find me maybe tonight, and we can have a chat about how your community that you're in, how I can give you some advice about different engagement posts or ways to share that with your community and get them out.
Thanks for coming to our panel, guys. It's been a pleasure. Follow me on Nostr at Claire VP. I love these people right here very much. This is my first HabConf experience, and it's 10 out of 10 so far. Anything else I should say?
Follow you on Nostr.
I said that part, yeah. Talk to us about Nostr though, we're really passionate about it, and we really are excited about the future. So, yeah, thanks for coming to our panel.
What's the last thing you wanted to say?
Girl boss gatekeep gaslight, that one? Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions before we head out? Oh, we have some questions.
That was last night. Are you taking?
So stand up, show your face.
Yeah, scream.
Basically, so the closest app that's out that has fairly wide use right now that delivers an authentic experience that I can consider right now or think about right now is Be Real. So now that we're now ZBD is targeting that sort of authentic user base, people who want that. How are we seeking that in an era where the attention span is really low?
Oh my God, totally. So something that we're actually beginning to do, which I urge any Bitcoin Nostr company who's extremely consumer user facing, is to get your stuff on TikTok. And then my next piece of advice is do not get your millennial marketing team to make those TikToks. Because I'm sorry, we just don't have the ability to do that. It is a very different part of the brain, which I do not understand, right? It's the same thing with Be Real, it's that short attention span. I do a lot of Gen Z studies, and people say, it's 6 seconds. It's actually more like 2. If you've ever watched a young person scroll on their phones, it's insane. I mean, absolutely insane. But get your content made by actual Gen Zs who have those short attention spans, and you will see how fast everything is. So distill the information that you want to share with your users in very tiny clips, 15 seconds, 10 seconds, right? And you can feed them snippets. We're doing a whole series on Nostr for TikTok, and it's probably like the first TikTok series on Nostr. We're trying to spread the word to these young people, and the only way is to make it funny and weird and like culturally relevant, right? To use those weird memes and stuff. So that's what I would say about that.
I don't know if you want to go.
Sure. So you get on Nostr, you're posting, good morning everybody, here's a picture of my coffee, and you get some zaps, you put in your recipes, and you're feeling good, and you're like, hey, I got 50 people following me, that feels pretty cool. And then suddenly every time you put out something, you get a few like attaboys or kind of some acknowledgement, whether it's just responses, and you kind of like pour your passion into it. You're cooking, just as an example, I'm going to do these kind of recipes, and everybody's into it. Man, now I've got 50,000 followers. And then you're like, it's an intimate experience, and you start feeling more comfortable with your community, and you start getting more personal about what you say, and you start letting your politics get into it a bit, and you're giving your viewpoint on society and where things are right and wrong. If you weren't on Nostr, but you were on Twitter, you're yanked. You're gone. All those followers, all that work you poured into it is gone. Your people don't know how to get a hold of you. And the answer was always like, oh, well, build another platform. We did Twitter, but go build something else. Well, Parler built something else, and a lot of folks had this happen to them and went to Parler. And then Parler got yanked. Their Amazon hosted, and whoever turned the screws on Amazon pulled their contract. The beauty of Nostr is you can't get yanked. You can invest in the network, the people, the connections, and it's almost literally impossible to get yanked. Now the question to you guys is, how or when do you sell that point to the community you're building? Not to put people off, but say, look, this is worth your investment, your time investment, your personal investment, because you're going to control your livelihood going forward.
Okay, so here's a couple things. People always ask me on Nostr, when are you going to talk about this? When are you going to talk about this? When are you going to talk about this? And what I answer is people still need to get around the concept of zaps and sats. That's where we're at. I just want to let you know. We deal with a lot of different types of users. Now, that's super important, right? I don't actually think that most people think about that, right? I don't think so, unless you're a big-time influencer or something, right? Which most people are not. And those aren't really the types of people I'm trying to get on Nostr, right? My answer to that is it will come with time. Everyone, please remember that Nostr started growing in like December, right? So with everything, it takes time. And eventually we will figure out very easy to understand ways to communicate a lot of the complexities of this new, I don't even want to call it social media because it's so much more, but of this new communication layer, I guess, to your life. So it's gonna take time. Let's be realistic,
I do think though that like the optionality of Nostr is just inherent. Like, you own your social identity. Like, we don't need to like explain it honestly that much more than that. Like, you own your identity and you get to choose what client like best suits your needs, and it just depends like where you're at. But I agree, like it's still so early and we gotta meet people where they're at. So I don't want to overcomplicate it. But yeah, you do own your social identity, and that is a big selling like feature for a lot of users for sure.
I guess to rephrase it, it's you can take your followers with you
Yes.
into if you find resistance wherever, whatever the situation you're dealing with, the client, the relays that you're using, whatever, your followers are your followers, and you can take them with you. And that's just not been possible for this situation.
Yeah, totally. Totally agree with you there. It's a big reason why I care too. But I don't even care about my followers, I just care about my zaps. All I want is zaps. Please zap me. I need more Bitcoin. Anyone else?
Any other questions?
We gotta wrap up.
Oh.
We're gonna move on to hackathon pitch.
Goodbye.
That was
Thank
good.
you.
And now hackathon stuff.
On that one.